G'day, hi, and welcome. Exhibit A. I have discovered my buddy Paul is not a giant squirrel. He come barging in this morning, opened the door. He's like, "Right, you in there?" Like, yeah. I was about to, because I heard like there's him unlocking the door. They're like, "Marvin, stop it!" He's like, "Who's Marvin? This a little squirrel." I just saw him there. He was running out in my veranda there. So I don't know if he made it in here today. Hopefully not. It's hard to tell. I don't see any mess, but I blocked another hole in the basement yesterday, so I'm hoping that was the one I'm hoping that's it. Maybe that's why Marvin didn't say good morning to me this morning. He's like, "You bastard! You locked me out of the house, my house. How could you?" But he was happy. He was running around there. So I was like, "Who's Marvin?" Yeah, my buddy probably thinks I'm insane. But he walked in and he goes, "Whoa!" He goes, "Holy Jesus, that ever changed anything?" He goes, "I can't smell the like last time." I said, "I know." I said, "Well, we're now month three. It's November 1st at the making of this, so we're going into month three. I've paid my rent three times here already." Uh, it was like I told him, I said, like it's going to take a while to air the place out. It's going to take 8 months to get everything. I still haven't done the like the shop vac, get every crevice type of thing. I've swept, I've done all. I got to sweep again. Marvin, it's Marvin making the mess, not me running around with my boots on. But anyway, yeah. So like the dog hair smell, like you get a faint smell of it, like in places in the house once in a while, but it's like that corner for some reason had the dog hair smell. I don't know if it was just because of the grate or whatever, but you don't smell it there as much anyhow. And it seems like because like what I was worried about that. Okay, maybe I'm just getting used to like going nose blind as they call. But Paul came in and he said, "Oh man, no major difference from the last time," and that was like I guess 2 weeks ago that he came in here, and he was just like, "Yeah, it's not bad at all." I said, "I know," and it was raining all last past 2 days, and the basement's flooded and wet, and it doesn't smell as bad as what it did 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So every week, the more I air it out, and plus every time I take anything that was stinking in here out, which I may have some new furniture coming. Do you guys remember a while back I said, like let's say I find a chair better than this, okay? Okay, I'll toss this one out and bring in the fresh new one. Then I don't have to worry about getting this one. But this is a nice chair. Okay, it's dirty because it's old or whatever, but it is a very comfy chair. But it doesn't smell that bad, so I got to get it. It's treatable. I just don't have the right products right yet to treat it the way I want. I got like Marvin paranoia every time I hear like a little sound. It's like, is that Marvin trying to break in again? You never know with him. You just don't know with that little bugger. But anyway, bottom line is, yeah, even he noticed a difference. So it's like, yeah, it's drying out really good in here. So that's like stage one, right? It's just dry the damn place. Like even my net, like I showed him the warp on the wall. I said that was about three times the size. Too much, like when I came down here, just because there was so much moisture in here. Because like I say, like my brother, air conditioner all summer, never opened the windows hardly at all, right? Wintertime, obviously, you don't keep the windows open, but the basement being closed and locked, and a lot of people don't understand. Oh, I don't want the smell from the basement to come up. Well, the reason why you have that is because you don't let the air circulate in the basement, right? You have to. You have to. Just keeping that door open. Like I understand if you have like little babies or whatever, but get a fan blowing. Like whenever the weather's nice, like that basement has dried out so much since in the last past 2 months. Just keeping that door open all the time, yeah, okay, that means the smell comes up here. But when the hatch was open, okay, like basically the window in the basement was open. You had this big wind tunnel going from the basement to here into the attic, right? And just all that air sucking out of the house, and it actually creates. You can look at my little pieces of paper towel hanging there. I'll open a door and you just see everything going like that, and that's good. That means there's actual air circulation in the house, even in an old house like this. Like like I was telling my buddy, I said parts of this house is probably about 200 years old. Like it's like it's an old house. It's a very old house. But if you can get the air flowing, dry things out, like eventually, yeah, like some things are far gone, but it almost doesn't matter what it is if you can dry it out and then treat it with the stuff to kill it, like the antibacterials and stuff like that. Ozone treatment. I'm probably going to try an ozone treatment. I'm probably going to buy the machine. I think this place is at like the point where you can do the amateur stuff to get rid of it, and then maybe I buy a really good high tech air purifier at one point. I mean, I've barely run this dehumidifier. Like I've barely ran it a couple of times. I just don't really need it. Like, okay, the humidity does stay a little bit high, but when I take a shower or whatever, if it's nice out, I open the windows and just let everything air out. See, like that's the things. Like the moisture I let out of this place is probably years worth of like everything being sealed up. You know what I mean? And then next year, like all the window. Okay, yes, I got the windows covered right now with the plastic, but next year all the windows except for the bedroom windows, just because you can't open those. Those are old, really old windows. You wouldn't be able to open them without busting the glass, just because they're so whatever, right? But all the other windows, I want these windows open, just as much cross breeze as possible. If I have to go buy that mosquito netting and put that up on the windows, that's fine. I don't care. With the Velcro or whatever, that's fine. Just keep the flies out, mosquitoes out, whatever. But I have no doubt that I'm going to make this place smell like a bed of roses in within the 8 months. The reason why I say 8 months is like it takes a while to kill old bacteria and smells and stuff like that, and find it all. Just okay. Now the stuff on the other inside of the wall, there's really nothing you could do there unless you rip out, one wall at a time and then redo everything. But it's a noisy register, heat register. But who wants to do that, right? Because really, realistically, if it's dry, if the place is dried out, like the like I say, that warp that was in that wall is about like it shrank by about 2/3, right? What it was. So that's the moisture coming out of the place, right? So it means everything is drying to the point where once you dry it, then you can kill the mold once it's dried, because then you can put the anti-mold stuff on, and then you can put the treatment over it. But I have a hunch once I actually do follow through with Operation Pine Sol, that the floor, which took on the dog hair smell for such a long time, and the mustiness and all that, where I showed where the water was leaking through the, like into my nephew's slash grandparents' room. It was staying under that linoleum, right? But when I ripped up the linoleum, I said, "Oh, okay, the water was coming in from the bathroom." My brother probably wasn't aware of it. That's why my nephew's, one of his dressers actually had a mold smell in it. It's like, oh, okay, that's what was going on, because I noticed it was wet, damp on the top of the thing, and what was happening is the dresser was actually wicking up the moisture that was just trapped there. But I've already vinegared it, and like the where the mold was, the border, the plywood is already shrank. You can see actually like a little bit of a gap between the two sheets. It was tight together, so I know that's dry, right? Under the bathtub and all that. There is a way for me to see underneath the bathtub from the basement. I just got to get one of those little mirrors with the. I have one somewhere. I just gotta find it, right. A little mechanics mirror, whatever. Get that in there and a flashlight, and I should be able to see how bad it is underneath the bathtub. Now, the good news about that is I can actually air that out too, because there's a nice big hole there for the ductwork to go in, or not ductwork, but the plumbing to go in. That it's like, okay, well, I could, suck air out of there too, have a fan blowing in there for like, a month or something like that. That'll probably dry out the bottom of the bathtub, right? So there's ways to do things, right? And it's just you got to kind of get creative. But today I got most of the Paul and I got most of the annuals done. We done so much today. What normally takes us 2 or 3 days, we did in like 5 hours. We still got work for tomorrow, but it's like the two brush cutters really. Like I used that brush blade on oregano, like oregano bush, probably a 4x8 bed of oregano bush. Cut that, no problem. The only thing I had to watch out, well, I didn't nick a rock there, but so I'll have to put a little bit of a sharpener on that. But we did like the lilies, and like I mean that's so thick, wet, and heavy. Went through that like nothing. I barely used the sigh at all today. I think I used my sigh maybe twice. Swapped it over to the whippersnipper head for like just a quick cleanup at the end. Use my sickles; they work. I realized something. My grandfather was left-handed, so the sickles, those sickles are you can switch them around. I got to switch it around, so it's like yeah, because you got to kind of hold them upside down so you can cut away. If you're right-handed, you got to cut away from yourself, right? Like you can go like this, right? But you're hooking into yourself, and you're gonna gash your knee or something. So you always want to work away from yourself with a sickle. It feels awkward at first, but once you understand how to do it, it's like you never work towards yourself with a sickle. Like you gash yourself with that thing, you're losing a limb. Uh, like you'll cut through arteries very very quickly with those. So you got to always work away from yourself, right? But we didn't do the hostas this year. Our client was like, no, leave the hostas. We'll get them in the spring. Okay. But that like probably took about 2 hours, 3 hours worth of work away. You know what I mean? Lots of raking. Um, Use those little hay forks there. That works so well. Save yourself a lot of raking. You don't have to bend over with the hay forks. Eh? So I use those. I know I have some here. I saw some out in the greenery. I know I have the actual fork itself, but I think I have to get some new handles for it. But my buddy was like last past 3 or 4 years, I've been saying you got to try it. You got to try these things. These things work great. And it was pretty wet because it's been raining the last past 2 days. It was dry today, but it was still like everything was saturated, right? So raking is really hard, because everything's just so freaking wet and wrecks your rakes and everything like that. My heavy duty rake, I had it, and I had my light rake, but I mainly just used that little hay fork today. And he was just like blown away how much easier because he just like it just bushes everything up, and he just and then he used the other rake just to clean up after and make it look nice. So that's what we did. It was a good day. We used the one his blower because I'm gonna get a blower next year. That's gonna be one of the two main tools for next year is super chainsaw and a leaf backpack leaf blower. And I'm gonna get the big one. It's about $1,000. The one that would be equivalent to his is about $600 from Still. He has the Husky though, and his is pretty good. His is pretty good. Like it's, but I'm like, okay, the other one's a little might be a tad bit heavier, but it's also the thing's like a tornado, right? So like it's the biggest one they got. I'm gonna get the big one, then I'm gonna get a handheld one. The handheld ones are like $400. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? But thing about Still stuff is it's all industrial equipment. Like it's meant for pros, right? Like my hard tying rake, it says pro on it, so it's not like for you insolent people. It's like for pros like me. Well, I don't know about that, but I highly recommend it. It was the one I got. It was like almost $60 for that damn rake, but it's a good rake. It's good, good heavy duty rake. So I'm probably going to pick up another one of those next year. So I'll have two. Like you just can't quite have enough of those type of things. So like I got four rakes all together. One really good one, but it's good if I have a good one, and because when you grab stuff that's like old and worn out and stuff like that, it'll probably get the job done. But it's nice to have something like that. It's going to get the job done. Like there's no question, right? But size and sickles, those sickles work pretty good. I did. We didn't use them that much today, but where I did use them, they were sharp enough. But I do got to get the proper files for them and really get those things cleaned up and really sharpened up good. I have to. I think I have to repeen my sai because what happens with the sai is like if you got your blade kind of over dramatic, it goes like this, then it steps down into something thin, The very edge is thin, right? And that's what you sharpen. But as you sharpen it back, it gets thicker, so it doesn't hold that sharp edge. So what you have to do is peen it. There's a skill saw going. So you have to peen it so that it flattens out that edge a bit. So when you go to sharpen, it's like a razor, right? And then there's thing, thing. But I didn't even have to use that today. But I brought it anyway. Well, we left it all the equipment in the back of his truck there, so covered it up with the with the tonneau cover there. So it's like, okay, we're good. But I got a check. I don't know if it's a GST check or whatever. Anyway, for 200 and some odd bucks the other night. And then last week I got a check for like 87 or something like that. I don't know what if that's the quarterly GST checks or whatever. But one was high, so I got almost 400 bucks there, and I'm like, shit, I could almost go out and get that backpack. Make a couple more bucks. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I buy that. I won't. It won't pay itself off this year at all because, like, after this job, that's pretty much the last of the leaf blowing. I mean, yeah, it's sunny now. It was cloudy all day. It was slight raindrops in the morning. I'm sure I saw a flake or two. It's like, okay, if we don't get this job done tomorrow, it's like we may not get this job done for the season. There's about 2 jobs that for the season that I got to get done. But I know next year, yeah, the two of us with backpack blowers would really. The problem is you get these tools, you get so efficient. It's kind of like these brush cutters. These brush cutters probably saved us about 2 hours of work each, right? But the problem is that now you're not making money. But it's more efficient. It's easier on the body, and you can take on a little bit more. So it's kind of like do it by hand or do it by with the brush cutter. The brush cutter obviously makes life easy. Um, yeah, so you can almost get too efficient where you don't make money, right? It's like yeah, you're too good. You're doing the jobs too fast. Like it's like holy shit, we're like superheroes. But yeah, my next super chainsaw that I can't wait to get. And like right now, I'm at the point where like for big power tools for yard work. Yeah, you Marvin. Hope not. I, I hope that's him like trying to say, hey, somebody blocked my entrance out or in. So I got to get a really giant chainsaw, like a big monster chainsaw. Not that I need it all the time, but like anything, this time of year is usually my chainsawing type of time of year, right? There's a tree that fell down at one of my. I don't know if they're going to deal with it or I'll bring my chainsaw tomorrow and then hey I can cut it up for you and get that done. But I'll bring them anyway, and then they can make the decision there whether one of the clients wants to deal with it or wants me to deal with it. Doesn't matter. But I'm going to use my pole arm chainsaw tomorrow. Hopefully, start getting that thing to earn its keep. Next year, it's going to earn its keep several times because I have all those cottages to finish up and stuff like that, which I kind of yeah, I got to call them and let them know that I didn't forget about them. It's just I don't have a vehicle. Like I just, I was too busy and stuff like that. But when I took it on, I was a little bit more than I could take on at a time and whatever. And trying to coordinate with them to come pick me up and stuff like that. It just, next year. But like I told them, it's something I got to do each year anyway. You know what I mean? Like I do it this year, do it next year, or else it's all just going to go back, right? But we'll do the limbing and all that next year. Finish up the rest of it next year. Um, yeah, so like the brush cutters, and both blades that I bought for the brush cutter, and all the whipper line that I've used in it is so far. The brush cutter is paid for itself. Yeah, it's going on round two. Today that brush cutter earned another, like 140 bucks. Like it's a great tool, guys. A great tool. Runs okay in the cold. Like you gotta choke it. It's a funny machine. That one, it does. It seems like you have to choke it to start it. If you leave it for more than like 5 minutes after running it, it seems like you have to choke it again. Um, it's a good machine though. I've got The brush knife, guys, the still brush knife, yeah, they're $40 Canadian. Buy two. Buy two. Yeah, it's for like annuals, long grass, raspberry briars. Yeah, get that. If not, get the round one for the like if you've got more like shrubs and like saplings and stuff like that. Get the round one for that. I think that one was like $30 or whatever. And I mean, like you're gonna get a lot of buy the files for them. And you're gonna get a lot of use out of those. You're gonna get a lot of use out of those. I love that brush cutter. It's the brush minotaur, as I call it. Yeah, it's a good machine. It's not the greatest for whippersnipping because it's you're doing this. Whippersnippers, a little more agile. But if you're doing like open field whippersnipping, no problem. But if you're going to be in an open field, like the whippersnipping is more like the finishing off touch. You'll go through too much whipper line. Like that's the thing. Like last year, we are using whippersnippers to bring, cut all the annuals down. And like every second annual, like it's really thick and it jams up the whippersnipper, and you got to pull it out, and the whipper line's breaking off and stuff like that, and you got to, and that takes a lot of time. Where the brush knife is just done. Like I was like, it was getting to the point where Paul was getting so far ahead of me. Is like I did one of the raised beds, or one of the garden beds, and he was like, he's like, I'm like, there's no fair. He's having all the fun. So I really didn't do that much brushing today at all. I just, like I cleaned up one area, and he's like, oh, he's already on the next one. It's like, holy geez. So I told him just make me brush piles, and I'll just keep picking them up, and that's what I did. But I did a little bit of everything today. So, but I love it when I get to use the power tools too, right? So tomorrow, it's like one long garden bed maybe about 20, 30 feet long, but it's only like about 3 feet wide. And then I think there's two or three clumps of lilies, like the thick lilies. And then there's some hostas. I don't know if we'll be doing the hostas, because if we're not doing the hostas there either, then it's like, okay, new problem, new problem. And that. But it's just gonna be nice to do that, and then I'll probably help my buddy after school again. Go take another nostalgic walk down memory lane. Yeah, and that should be fun. Helps him. I like that. Could be one of those things that like through the winter, like okay, it's like if he gets a little bit, needs a little bit of help because like the school is going to get dirtier in the winter. If they don't mind him bringing in a helper, then I'll help him on Sundays or whatever. I'm okay with that. That's it. That's if he's going to need me. I think what it is like uh, finish up the season. So once we're done this job, then there's really nothing until next year, unless there's like a tree falls or something like that for this client. So I'm going to be down to like basically three clients. But one client is kind of like I think they're sort of done for the season, unless something because they're still dealing with their other property that they're trying to get rid of and they're trying to sell. So like they're usually reserved for Friday, but they're not up every Friday. And this year they were kind of skimpy coming up because we're so busy at the other place. But they kept me going. It's just that I could have probably got a little bit more work, but it's like okay, well whatever. It worked out okay. So they're good clients, and sometimes they give me like it was them last year that got me through the winter with the with the that little art studio there. Drywalling it, insulating it, and drywalling it. It now has power in it, so because I dug the freaking cable for that. Yeah, it took me like I forget how many hours to dig it out with the freaking pick, and it, like 15 minutes to fill it back in there. It was kind of like Darrell, the electrician. He's like, I said I was at this all day, and now I got to just cover it. I said I almost feel bad covering it. It's like all that hard work. He goes, oh yeah, that's the way it goes. Oh yeah, and that because yeah, we got that done. So I think the only thing left to do in there is not just paint it, but get the wood stove in. but I don't know what else she's going to do in there. So maybe I get another little project, like a side project. I'm kind of hoping to get a little bit of chainsaw stuff where I can charge a little more, like some $35 an hour, $60 an hour stuff. 'Cause my chainsaws, they get hungry and they get lonely in the winter. It's like I'm a chainsaw and I just want to go out and eat some trees. Somebody take me out to eat some trees, please. It's you have to treat your chainsaws with compassion as you're massacring trees. Yeah. Well, get some storm trees or whatever. But yeah, I still got a little bit of sawing up to do. I got 3 trees I got to put down. I got a branch for the pole arm saw that I got to deal with. Uh, Anywhere my chainsaw goes, my pole arm saw is kind of coming with me now. And then there's a pine tree or a spruce tree that snapped in half at our clients. Again, I don't know if they want me to deal with it or not. I don't even know if they have chainsaws. If they do, I'll bloop, 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 you know. I love my freaking MS 400. I love that saw. But I am going to get an extremely big saw, as I was saying. I know I got a little bit squirrel brain. Marvin's rubbing off on me. I got complete squirrel brain now. Like I can't concentrate more than like 4 seconds on something. Thank you, Marvin. Thank you very much. Yeah, I blame Marvin for everything. I love him, but I blame him for everything. He's Marvin. He's Marvin, right? But anyway, no. If I can get the brush, okay. So here's the list of the tools I got. 2 whippersnippers. One that's in need of maintenance or repair. Snippy Shark. That was the new one I bought. I still have the other one. Okay, so I have those. I've got the brush cutter / whippersnipper. I've got the pole arm chainsaw. I've got 2 good functioning chainsaws. Okay, now the next thing to get is the backpack blower, because this time of year is like all cleanup stuff. So that's the next tool on the list. And the big chainsaw, like, okay, so I got small, medium, large, right? And then also getting new bars for my chainsaw and stuff like that. Like I want to get one 28-inch bar for my saw for standing up and while I'm sawing, and one 16-inch bar and a spare 20-inch bar for the. I'm not going to bother going down to an 18-inch bar. I think the MS 400 with an 18-inch bar would be like spectacular, but I can live with the 20-inch bar because it's easier to work with. You can stand up a little bit more. The 28, yes, I'll lose a lot of power to be like the equivalent of going from a 67cc saw probably to like a 50cc saw in power. But that's not like your falling bar. That's your like cleaning up, when you got a tree that's, storm damaged trees. You got a 16-inch bar or 20-inch bar, okay, no problem. But what ends up happening is with the 16-inch bar, you got to do all that bending. So you got all the power in the world, but you got to do all that bending. So have the 16 for like if I have to climb a tree or something like that, and have the 28 just for knocking off like limbs of trees that are down, stuff like that. Seems like a lot of guys are doing that, right? So the other thing to get after I get the backpack blower is another small backpack blower, probably another whippersnipper, and what you call it, a riding mower. Some sort of a small ride, not a big one, just a small one. One of those 0-turn. And then if I had an extra, little bit extra cash, I might get myself a snowblower. Just a small one. But like the smallest ones are still like $1,000, right? But it'd be good for here and then up there. I could do my aunts, my uncles, clean it up. I don't want to do too much snow removal this year, but it really depends on how much money I don't have, right? It's not how much money I have, it's how much money I don't have. It tells me whether I've still got to work my ass off or not. But the fact that starting off November 1st and 2nd, at least I know I have 2 days of work this month. And one's already complete. Then probably another 8 days. I probably get a total of 8 days this month. For sure, not 8 full days of work, but 8 days of work. So that'll give me 10 days out of the month already. And then whatever I make off the trapping. So that's like kind of like the low side of things, right? But a lot of times, like like how many full days am I going to get? You know what I mean? Like it's, and I tell my clients, I know they're trying to keep me going as much as possible, but it's like, if it's a short day, it's a short day. It's like is what it is, right? Also, too, probably by mid-November, if it's not too snowy, I'm going to start go fall some or clean up some trees, start cutting my wood and my dad's wood for next year because I still got a bunch of it to throw in, but I got quite a bit in. But I was supposed to be doing the chimney today. Every year it's the same. It's like I want to do the chimney while the weather's nice, but I always end up on. There's going to be snow on the roof when I go up there. I know it. It's just going to happen. It just is what it. Just accept it. It just is what it is. I keep my expectations low, so I'm never disappointed. But yeah, so I get the big saw, and then it's just a matter of stocking up on chains, bars. Probably get a plug, for each tool I got. A couple of spark plugs for each tool I got. Air filters. Speaking of, yeah, I haven't cleaned my air filter on my 400 in a while. What the heck was that all about? When the winds really blow, those windows rattle like crazy. I'm gonna have to stick like little things of like, I don't know, paper towel or something just so it doesn't rattle so much. Um, but yeah, so I got almost all the tools a man can need in that sense, like the actual big power tools, and then one small hand leaf blower, just so when I'm doing like climbing up on ladders and like you're 3 stories up doing a freaking eavesdrops or whatever. The backpack works good because you got the power, but you can only kind of work one way with it, right? Because you can only do this, right? That's your movement. You got this big thing, but you can get the extra attachments to do the eavesdrops. I was talking to the still guy because, like I said, it'd be nice if we can just get it from the ground, not have to fuck around with ladders and stuff, right? I mean, if you have to mess with the ladder a little bit, fine. But if you can get up 2 stories, which is most houses, and just walk on, you'd be done done eavesdrops in 15 minutes. You know what I mean? 15, 20 minutes. Saves getting up on the roofs. Like I do get up on blow pine needles off of one roof, but that roof is Jesse and I were going to go up, and I was showing Jesse if you have to go on the roof, watch out for here. This is how you tell where the rot spots are on the shingle roof, so you don't end up in the guy's living room or whatever, the kitchen or whatever. And for Jesse, he's got vertigo, so he's like, I don't think I'll be getting on the roof too much. He goes, he has vertigo, right? So okay, well, but if you ever have to, this is what you watch for, And when you're moving, yeah, I look like an old man when I'm moving. Well, I am an old man, but what it is that it's sailor's rules: one hand for yourself, one hand for the boat. You always have something anchored because what happens on shingle roofs is you walk too fast and the shingle breaks off with the foot that's on it, and you go. So where if you're really deliberate, you really don't walk too fast. Make sure you can really get the other foot anchored before you bring the other foot. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you can when you lift the foot, you'll feel the shingle kind of wiggle down a bit. Shingle, I hate shingles. Yeah, so there's that. So that's where I'm at. But if I can, nail getting one more tool, because like this time last year, so I can do a 1 year review on my chainsaws. Right, they've been excellent. The short answer is buy a 400, buy 2 of them. Like when the 400.1 comes out, buy it. Just buy it. All you 500i guys, nothing against that saw, but if you find that saw is just a little bit too heavy for you to work with all day, you won't regret the weight difference between the 400 and the 462 is like 2 pounds or something like that. But it's 2 pounds just at the size where if it was any heavier, it'd be too heavy. Where it's light enough where you can work. And I've heard guys say about the 400 in all the interviews. It's like I had the 500, I love it. I have the 500, but this is a saw I grabbed. I had the 362, loved it. Nice and light, it's lighter than the 400 by a little bit, but it's indistinguishable almost in weight between the 400 and the 362. Now, if you can get the 400.1, which is this, even lighter than the 462 and more powerful than the 400. It's the same saw, but it's just like it's tweaked, right? So you got like 500i kind of like performance in a slightly, it's even a few cc smaller, and the thing is just, it just rips. I can't wait till they're selling them here. I'm like, like I wouldn't mind having a 362, but if the 400.1 was the like is lighter than the 362, yeah, you'll pay a little bit more for it, but you won't regret having a lighter saw. You never regret having a lighter saw, and you're never going to regret having a lighter saw that's more powerful. You know what I mean? The 462 versus the 362. The 362, or sorry, 392 is the one down from the MS400. But what they did is like they're going to discontinue that and the MS400 and just give you, like, instead of two saws competing with them, like it's in the 60cc class, one's 59 cc's, the other one's 67, which is the 400. The 362 or 392 is 392 or 362? Yeah, 392 is 59 cc's. Great saw as well. A little less power, a little bit less zippy. But like if you had to work with both of them all day and money was no object, or you're making money with them, buy the 400. Never mind like for what you're going to save in money, the difference in the weight and the extra, a slightly heavier saw, not even like a quarter pound heavier, that has that much, a noticeable amount more power. I mean, it's not night and day, but it's definitely noticeably more power. Yeah, the 400 just rips. I love that saw. I could talk about that saw all day. So when I do my like 1 year review of it, which will be this month, it's been a year. Can't believe it's been a year. I mean, where did the year go? I mean, holy Jesus, November 1st, and like, I was like, where did the year go? Gave my dad the rent this morning, like, Dad, where did the year go? He's like, I don't know. It's like, holy jeez. I mean, this is the beginning of the third month here. Like, where does the time go? I'm gonna wake up in the morning. Oh shit, I died. How did that happen? But no, getting my tools all sorted out, getting my tools, everything I need for it, like brush cutter blades. I'm good for brush cutter blades probably for the next. I'm gonna buy that other one just to try it. Why not? Why not? Stocking up on kind of like, okay, this is my life. This is the things that, okay, people are going to buy me something for Christmas. You buy me socks, underwear, guitar strings, bass strings, okay, or assortment of chainsaw files. These are the only things I need. Like, I don't need anything else. That's the only things I need. Chainsaw chains, I do want to start. I do have a couple of chains per saw, except for my pole arm saw. I still got to get another spare bar and chain for that. I want to get a spare bar and chain for the 162. I love that saw. It's a great saw. The MS 170 I liked more because it was lighter and smaller. But like it was like the baby of the baby. But the 162 is now the new baby of the babies, right? I don't like the saws that are in between as much. Like if you could only pick one saw and you were going to be more on the smaller side of things, the 261 is probably the best all around saw for just about anybody, right? It's not too heavy, it's not too big. You could drop, a 16-inch tree, no problem. Yeah, you're gonna have to wait for the saw a little bit, but it's a great saw. No, you won't burn it out. my MS 260, which had fallen off of roofs, and contractors were cutting like freaking nails, hitting everything with that thing. It was all banged up, and I got 13 years out of that saw. You know what I mean? And trust me, I cut like 32-inch oak stumps with the damn thing. Like, I mean, with half worn out chains. Trust me, that's not, you can't kill those things. I mean, well, you can wear them out, but and literally, I probably with the my MS 260, I probably cut probably 500 cord of wood with that easy, and God knows how much cutting it did before I got it. You know what I mean. And it could probably still be revised. It still runs. It just it's probably like needs all new hoses and stuff like that. Maybe it's burnt out. It's hard to say, but you can't go wrong with them. You just can't go wrong with them. But if you're going to go like a mid-size saw and then have a really small saw and then a really big saw, that gives all your bases covered. So you want your big tree felling saw, or if you have a really, really hard stump like those Manitoba maple stumps, you got to wait to get through those. I mean, those things are just, they're rock solid, especially if it's a dead stump. It's just like trying to cut into steel. It really is. It just, you really got to wait for it. Even with a sharp chain, and I can keep a chain pretty damn sharp. I'm still on my original chain for the MS 400. I'm on my second chain for the 162, but I think the first week I had it, I killed that first chain on. I just haven't gotten around to resharpening it. Oop, what was that? Yeah, Marvin. Better not be Marvin. This is my Marvin smashing hand if he comes in. I'll show him. But yeah, no. So that's the kind of day I've had. It was pretty good. So get a little bit more work done tomorrow. I was hoping to kind of be done today, though, in the sense that tomorrow I could possibly go set some beaver traps, but we'll see. Maybe Tuesday I set the beaver traps. I bought the license. The license I'll charge my client for, so I was like, okay, well, it's 40 for the license and 30 an hour, and then $10 a beaver. So it's like, whatever that works out to by the end of the season. So I'll try to make it as affordable for them as possible, but it is, it is something, I got to make money to do it, or else it's not, nobody else will do it. Like beaver trapping is, it can be pretty labor intensive too, right? And I'm trying to take it easy for the winter, but I'm only going to trap for maybe about the next 2 months and a half anyway. December, I'm done. You know what I mean? As soon as I got to start breaking ice like crazy, I'm done. We'll get it next year. And hopefully next year I'll be able to get it early because whatever. But the upside is if I catch the beavers later, I get better pelts. So, but that's also why I'm charging an extra $10 per beaver. Is the idea that if I get early beavers, they might only be worth $5 to $15 a piece. So if I'm going to put that kind of work into it, when I get paid by I got to make money, right? I got to make money. It's like at this time of year, I don't really, like I can't do charity. You know what I mean? It's like yeah, okay, I do a little bit of charity work for my aunts and uncles and stuff like that. Doing the snow and stuff like that. That's not the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't go around doing charity because I can't afford it. Anyway, I guess that's all I got to lollygag about now. I'm gonna have to head back up home. So I got my Charbel, brand new strings on it. I got to do the string change for the bass. I thought I was going to be recording today or tomorrow, but I'm working instead. But like this time of year, somebody says work, I just say yes. Like it's yes, I can't wait to take the time off, but I'm going to have a lot of time in the winter to really, really hone the amount of music that I'm going to be producing down here. Is going to be quite crazy. I love it. Yeah, so anyway, that's where I'm at. So I think I'm going to go head home now because it's getting close to supper time. And the supper up there is better than the suppers down here. So all I got down here is black walnut. So Marvin likes it. Well, in a moldy jar of peanut butter. So black walnut with moldy jar of peanut butter and a thing of salt. That's what I got down here. Works for Marvin, but Marvin's kind of it's Marvin, right? Anyway, I'll see if he's on the veranda on my way out. I'll tell him, stay the hell out of my house. But stay on the porch. Don't go too far. I don't want you to get eaten by the cats. Yeah, I wonder what he's going to like. Well, red squirrels don't really hibernate. They just kind of hang out in a tree and spit nuts at people. That's pretty much all they do. It's like, yeah. But anyway, yeah, there we go. That's the kind of day it's been. All right. Have a good one.